but very fun to see all this money come through. Smiles for Life is definitely rolling. So if you're competitive in nature, this is a really fun place to go and see.
This is so awesome. I mean, today's the 23rd of March, so we're 3 weeks in.
Yep.
So this is awesome. So good. 3 weeks and 300 grand.
Right.
Doing good.
All right. Very good. I'll close that tab. Well, I'll go to my next tab. Steve, do you want to tell us about what's coming up this week?
Yeah. So this Friday will be our TOPS Total Immersion online, available to anybody in the world. In fact, I just got off a Zoom call with a practice in South Africa.
Whoa.
So it'll be online on Friday from 10 a.m. Central until 4 p.m. We'll have practices from all over that'll join. We're now doing both total immersion in person, which we just did a couple weeks ago, as well as online, depending on which format you want to participate in. For those that may not be familiar with total immersion, it is the initial primary experience that every Crown Council office and every Crown Council team member should engage in. It is all of the ideas, techniques, and systems to deliver total patient service, which is a big, big part of creating a culture of success, which is a big part of the Crown Council mission. So you're welcome to join us. Again, there's plenty of room because it's a virtual course, right? And it is interactive. So it's not a, put it on your iPhone and go through Costco, and watch it while you're shopping. This is participate in your office with other team members primarily, and a lot of skill building. It is one of the peak experiences that every team member should engage in. So you can go to totalpatientservice.com, click on events, and there's Total Immersion online. And we would love to have you with us on Friday.
Nice. Yeah. Last night I did a mastermind call with all of the new young dentists, and many of them are going to join you on Friday.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, a lot of the young dentists will be on there.
Yeah.
Some new practices at the Crown Council, some existing practices that always onboard. Part of their new team member onboarding process is have them attend Total Immersion. So yeah, looking forward to it. It'll be a fun day.
Very cool. All right, Spence, this one's yours. Do you want to tell us all about dental digital marketing coming up?
Man, we are so excited, and we're excited to see the registrations that continue to pour in over the last few days. What's most exciting is the speaker lineup and those that we have coming to present with some awesome material. For those of you that don't know, this is a 1.5-day course on all that you need to know about marketing your practice and how to utilize marketing on social and communicate with your patients. And look at that lineup that Stu is scrolling through. So if you are able to check out the DDMC on our Crown Council website, there's it'll show you how to register. And through the next few days, just as a heads up, the pricing that we were able to get at the Planet Hollywood, and we are stoked to be back in Vegas. The pricing is so good per night. Take advantage of it over the next few days before it goes back to the market rates, but we would love to have you.
Nice. Yeah, really a fun lineup of speakers. Good mix. If you read through some of these topics, it's a great mix of all things marketing. Steve, we participated in many of these. Who would you suggest attend this activity?
Everybody.
Okay.
So I'll do the top down. Here's the big picture. We have a philosophy, called ESP, which stands for Everybody Search Plan. So it's everybody on the team. Everybody on the team is responsible for marketing the practice, and helping build it. Okay, so that's the big picture. Recommendation here. So this is a team event. You can bring your whole team at a minimum. I would recommend the doctor attend with a key team member or team members that are accountable for the marketing plan and executing the marketing plan for the practice. So at a minimum, that would be my recommendation. I wouldn't recommend, flying solo on this one.
Right.
This is a great opportunity to come with at least one other person in your practice so you can put the plan together. You can network with the other offices that are attending. So bring it on, as many as you want to bring, but at least 2 people, preferably the dentist and a key team member.
Nice. Very good. Okay, great. We have our resource partners almost going to join with us, but I wanted to share a few of my, my experience from the Dominican a couple of weeks ago. Can you see my group there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to scroll back. I was at the end of my slides. So I got to go to the Dominican. I've been back a week and a half. This is Jared Tyre. He was our leader. And there's Alex, the CEO of Esperanza. So this is our first morning. Beautiful. If you've never been on a trip to the Dominican, I've always ever gone in November where it's so hot, and March was incredible. It was like a totally different place. I'm not trying to cancel the fall trips, but man, March was good. Very good. This is Kate. We'll have her on the show today. She's has a really fun story about actually meeting her current husband on a Dominican Republic trip. Yeah. So she's a hygienist in Dr. Tyre's office. This was one of her really cute patients from the week. Just a really fun relationship that we have. This is a worker from Esperanza. You can see on her shirt. This is our in-country host who meets us and feeds us, takes us around to the communities where they are providing microloans to mostly women in the country to start small businesses. And then we provide dental care to those associates. Dr. Tyre. This is Dr. Kim Nickel up in Park City, Utah. She brought both of her children with us and an assistant. It was really fun to see her share her first humanitarian trip. Here's our kids. Oh boy, look at all these pit vipers in this. We got. So one of the kids in the group collected 3 gigantic bags of baseball equipment, and we had the opportunity to pass them out at different communities. And when we gave it out, we'd play with these boys. We'd play with the kids from the different communities. So it was really fun to hand them shoes and mitts and all the fun, even the catcher's gear. So it was awesome. I don't know if you guys recognize that face. So this woman is kind of famous in the Crown Council world. This is Yosimara. Maybe 10 years ago, Crown Council provided her with washer and dryer. We painted her home. We did a huge service project for this woman. She is a local community legend in one of the communities that we went back to. So it was really fun to see her again. And there she is. She got brand new front teeth worked on by Dr. Kim Nickel, which was really cool to see. And it was just fun to reconnect with somebody that we served so many years ago. So really neat story. I think we highlighted her at an annual event, a really fun story at one of our nights there. So this is Ashley from Dr. Weston Spencer's office, a hygienist that joined us. And now here comes the final day of, I brought my 2 girls. This is my favorite picture of the week.
Some happier than others.
Just pride. A lot of great service, a lot of great work, but the kids played hard and had a lot of fun. So my sweet Zoe was almost done with being on the humanitarian trip.
Yep.
Dr. Weston Spencer's team, he brought all of his group down with him. Really fun to have this group on their first trip together.
Stu, I'm loving the name tags on the duct tape. Do you want to explain why we do name tags on duct tape?
Yeah, it's just an easy way every morning for us. So every morning we do a different color. Everyone gets to write their own name. and we stick them on there in a way that makes it really easy for you to point to and share and talk about. This is me. I am Stu. I am Dr. West. And it just makes it easy for us to pull them off and at the end of the day, rewrite them every day. So,
And actually, the reality of it is, duct tape is the only thing we have found that will
that'll stick.
adhered to the scrubs in
So
that
sweaty.
hot, humid environment in the Dominican Republic.
That's true. All right. Final slide. A really fun special needs patient who we got to see in hygiene. And then one of the really fun opportunities I got to catch her on camera was as she got moved from hygiene over to the doctor. This awesome kid that was with us, just out of the blue, she couldn't walk well, so he just picked her up and moved her over to the Dr. Christian to take care of. So
That's
just
a pretty fancy dental chair there.
Yeah, very fancy. Easy to wipe down. So great group. This was my group. The crazy thing is as soon as our group left, Aaron arrived the same day with another group, and they just got back. So they were there the week after us. So we'll have Aaron highlight her trip in the next couple weeks.
Back to back. So we did back to back expeditions.
Back to back expedition. And the Esperanza team, they were champs for taking care of both groups back to back.
That's so cool.
Very cool. So we'll do 5 trips a year. This is open to any Crown Council member or team who wants to participate. So we've done 2. There's 3 more in the fall. So looking forward to it. Okay, how was that? Good.
That was
So good.
Good
That makes me
experience.
want to sign up for this fall.
A lot of fun memories.
So anybody who wants to go, Stu, how do they sign up?
Yeah, this is a great question, Steve. I could navigate to it for us if you want me to show everybody. It is really an easy system. I'm going to share my screen one last time here. So can you see my crowncouncil.com? If you go to my directory here and you scroll down to Smiles for Life Foundation. Now, last year we rebranded Smiles for Life in that there are many ways to participate in Smiles for Life, not just whitening. So if you click here on the left, Smiles for Life whitening, humanitarian trips, adopt an athlete, Rivers for Hope, clear aligners. So you'll click here on humanitarian trips. And here's all the details that you'll need to participate in a trip. A lot of great videos that describe what it's like, as well as sign up details, when the trips are, which is full, and a registration form down here at the bottom. So that's it.
I love it. That's easy.
Very easy.
Yeah, it's great.
All righty. All righty.
Stu, what's the cost now per person?
Yeah, cost per person to participate in humanitarian trips. I believe, don't quote me on this because it does kind of change every week, every year. But if you're watching this right now, it's $19.95 per person, and you pay half down when you register as a deposit to participate. So
Cool. That's pretty amazing, actually.
Yeah.
So that takes care of everything, right? So from the time you land in Santo Domingo, everything is taken care of, right? Transportation, hotel, food.
Yeah, you just have to
pedicure.
People have to get there. They have to pay for their plane, but yes, yeah, everything's
that's pretty amazing, actually. So
yeah.
Steve,
So-
those last parts are taken care of by the kids in the clinic.
Yeah, face painting,
Yeah.
face painting, all that good stuff that they do. So it is an amazing experience to do that. So great team building and love it.
Very cool. All right, Spence, will you introduce our resource partner as DJ lets him in?
Absolutely. We have Josh Gosnell from Addit, one of our resource partners, coming in. And Addit is a software business that will help and platform, I should say, overall, that will that can manage your entire practice. And some of those specifics, communicating with your patients via texts, emails, patient forms, online scheduling, analytics and reviews, which today we'll hear Josh share how those can be used in your morning huddle and payments as well. So Josh, welcome to the Crown Council Go Live. This is your first time on.
Hey, Josh.
What's
First
up,
time,
Josh?
happy to be here.
Looks like you and Stu are in the same.
Yeah,
You got the old wood background there. You guys in the same cabin?
we are.
You know, I had to spruce it up a little bit. I
Did
was
you?
tired of doing Zooms with a blank wall. I was like, I'm just gonna
Yeah.
fill these with 2x4s and make it look a
I
little
love
bit.
it. Well, I
Looks
love what
good.
you've done to the place, Josh.
Thank you.
You and Stu must have the same designer.
Hey, good case. You know, we kind of look similar too. We kind of
You
got the
do.
same facial
Josh,
structure.
the secret
You
of
got the
mine
same
is
barber.
mine's
Yeah.
fake. This is not even real. This is a backdrop.
Oh, see, this is real, the real wood right here.
Nice.
Yes. Awesome. Josh, we are excited to have you on and talk through your business a little bit and some of the applications that we can that can be utilized. Talk to us about some of the top 3 metrics that impacts practices performance today.
Oh, and I got one even before that. Josh, you ready for this?
Hit me.
I love this question. I want to know the origin of the brand. So why is it Addit?
That's actually a great question. It's a
Subtract
great
it.
story, too. So we started this business about 10 years ago. And when we originally started, we started as a dental marketing company. And so we did website design, search engine optimization, Google Ads, social media, the whole 9. And so at the time, it was advertising and IT because we had an analytics portion of what we did on the marketing side. So you had AD, IT, which became Addit. About 5 years into the business, the software that we had been building to support the marketing side kind of overtook the marketing side, and everyone was coming to us for that. So it's grown into what it is today. But the
Cool.
brand stayed the same.
Love the story. So fortunately, it could have been something else, but that I love the name. All right. So back to your question, Spencer.
Yeah, Josh, that is a great story. We are as interested to know about the things we've talked about, these 3 metrics that impacts practices performance today.
Well, there's a ton out there. So this question could be answered any number of ways. This just goes off my personal experience working with practices. I'd say number 1 is probably patient churn. I think that's still something that is not quite fully understood for a lot of practices. Churn is a term that comes from kind of the software industry, right? It means losing a client, losing a patient, et cetera. So when you think about it for dentistry, like in a software company, if someone wants to cancel our service, someone's going to churn, they call us, they say, hey, we're going to cancel, and then they stop paying us. In dental, they're not doing that. They're just not coming back. And so it can kind of be a lost metric. And a lot of practices think that they can solve that problem just by pouring on new patients, but they really have to keep in mind that churn aspect and how many patients are you losing every year. So I'd look at that for sure. I'd say average production per patient per year would be another great metric to look at. There's a lot of metrics that feed into that number. So that's why I say the average production, because it's going to tell you if there's a problem, you're going to know whether it's a diagnostic problem. Are you not diagnosing enough? Is it treatment acceptance that is a problem? So once you know that average production per patient, you can dive a little deeper into that. It's something really easy that you can set as a goal, especially if you've got multiple providers in your office of we should try to be working towards this number. And then collection rate. It's something that you wouldn't think is something that would be a problem for a lot of practices. And it's not for a ton, but if it is the biggest problem that they can have. So I would always say to keep an eye on your collection rates as well, because you got to make sure you're getting paid.
Got no money, got no nothing.
Exactly.
Good to hear. Josh, the metrics that you share are so needed inside of every practice. And we've been talking a little bit about how you can utilize those metrics inside of a really critical activity that takes place inside of the practice. Share your thoughts on where you feel like we can use your metrics inside of what activity in today's practice.
Well, that's kind of a loaded question because there's so many activities that we can kind of apply to. If I had to probably pick the most important, it would be probably hygiene reappointment or recall. Again, going back to that churn number, making sure that we're getting patients back into the office, that we're getting them reappointed before they're ever leaving the office in the first place. And then making sure that we're getting back. Again, we see so many numbers. There's always just a huge number in unscheduled treatment that we're seeing sit on those dashboards. And we're talking in the millions from patients that have only been in the last 6 to 12 months. So that is such a huge number that using our software, using any software, even just an activity that you need to be doing, is putting a major focus on getting those patients back in that unscheduled treatment, getting them on the books. Even more importantly, like I said, hygiene reappointment. We know that the hygiene is going to be a huge part of the practice. Usually about 1/3 of the practice is going to come from your hygiene. Getting those people reappointed before they're ever leaving the office, I think, should be another huge activity as well.
So good. Josh, we want to hear from you, one that looks at a lot of metrics. For those that are the high performing offices, what's the secret sauce?
Well, I would say that the number one thing that I see that separates an elite practice from a practice that just does pretty well is the level of their morning huddles. So number one, if you're not doing a morning huddle at all, you have to do it. You need to do it. It's paramount to success. But even beyond that, the elite practices, the ones that are doing really, really well, they are planning in advance. So when they're doing their morning huddle, they're not coming in and looking at today's numbers. They're not looking at today's production. They're doing it a week or a month in advance. So they know what action points can I take so that on the day in question, everything's already done. Because if I come in and I look at it that morning, I'm already behind. There's very few actions I can take at that point in time to fill up my chair or to make sure that these things are happening. If I'm looking at it a week in advance, I've got a much better chance of hitting my goals as far as production on that day, et cetera, and so on and so forth. Second part of it being, I always recommend to look back at the previous day. So once you've put these things in place, you go to the next day, let's go back and say, hey, what did we do well? What did we not do well? I would relate it back to if you're sports fans watching film. If you go out and you crush the other team, you're looking to see, hey, what did we do really well that caused us to allow us to have this victory? But if we get our butt kicked, we need to go back and say, hey, what did we do wrong? Where are we falling short? How can we change it? So morning huddle and doing it pre-planned, doing it to the best of your abilities, I would say, is what separates the elites.
Yeah.
Love it. You're singing out of my songbook there, Josh. Love it. Love it.
Love to hear it. We love having Addit as a resource partner. We have Addit loaded onto the crowncouncil.com site so that you can learn more about Addit, their services. They're loyal to the annual event. You'll see them there and in our meetings with us. But Josh, thanks so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. It's an honor to be here.
Thanks, Josh.
Thanks, Josh. Grateful to have you. He's out. Man, that was a good wood background.
Solid.
Very good. All right. Steve, anything to add to Josh? Anything?
Here's the way I characterize it is, when I go in every time for my dental visit, there's a bunch of diagnostics that the team does. So for example, our standard is every time I go in, I get my perio exam, 6 points on every tooth that measures the health of my gums. We do that at every single visit. And then those numbers are an indication of the level of my health. So in the same way, there's numbers that are indicators of the health of a practice. So it's not about the numbers. The numbers are just indicators of where we are in terms of the health of the business. Just like my exam numbers, my perio chart is an indication. So a lot of important numbers. It's not about the numbers. It's about the health of the business, the health of the practice. And there's so many things to measure There's also numbers you can look at that will indicate how good of a job you're doing as a team of taking care of your patients and their health. So I'll give you one.
Okay.
That's one of my favorites to look at, which is what is the ratio of 1110s versus 4341s or 4910s. Okay, so what's the ratio of healthy mouth cleanings that are being done versus actual perio treatment? Okay, so there's a ratio there. That's a number. So the CDC says that over 50% of the population in America over the age of 30 has some form of periodontal disease, so stage 2 or higher. So, and then if you include stage 1, it's 80% of the population. So if you got 80% of the population has some form of periodontal disease, then when you look at the numbers and the ratio of 1110s to 4341s and 4910s, what should the ratio be? Well, if we're treating disease, it ought to be 80% on the perio treatment side.
Right.
Most practices, when we first dig into this for the first time, it's exactly the opposite.
Huh.
So the ratio is the vast majority of what's going on is 1110s, and there's not a whole lot of perio treatment clothes. And there's a lot of different reasons for that. But those numbers at least give us an indication of what's going on. And then we can drill down and say, okay, what's happening? What's causing this? What do we need to do to change? So the numbers are just a measurement. They just measure where we are and then help guide us where we need to go.
Nice. Very cool.
Really good.
All righty. Very good. We got our last guest. She's in the waiting room. Should we go there?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. Hey, DJ, bring in Kate.
Kate, the team member of the year.
Kate, you're
There we go.
Here she is.
What's up? How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Very good. So grateful you would join us. Have you recovered from our big adventure?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you back?
You get back in the swing.
We are. Are you back at work today?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So Kate, you returned to the scene of the crime. So Stuart, when he introduced you today, was sharing that you met your husband on a Dominican dental expedition. Tell us the story. You got to tell us the story.
Geez. So my first trip down with Dr. Tyre, we were I don't know if not everybody's been down there, so I'm sorry, but you get on these buses and you've got a crew that comes out with you from Esperanza that drives you out and helps set up and take care of things. And my husband's father is actually one of the bus drivers of that massive bus that drives us around into these sketchy places, and you feel like the bus might fall off the side of the road sometimes. But so he actually came to the locations with us and would help set up tables and tents and everything we needed. And the first day he sat outside our hygiene tent because the hygienists on that specific trip were at tables outside instead of inside the building. And so they sat outside and they helped kind of guide people to us. They'd help calm the kids that were sitting in our chairs because they're freaking out. We don't speak English or Spanish. They don't speak English, And so he sat to the side with one of his buddies and helped set up and take down. And we started talking. I learned Spanish as best I could. It is not perfect Spanish, but it's enough that I communicate just fine with him. And we just started talking. In the beginning, it was more just about life. I was so interested in how things were there, the culture, environment, government, how different government is there. And so it's just a nice person to communicate with. And over time, it grew into something that is what it is today.
I love it. So you learned enough Spanish to understand "Te amo, mi amor." I
Nice.
love it. Well, congratulations. That's awesome. All right. So we were talking about team member of the year and what that is. And Stu, do you have the nomination form?
I
think it
do.
would be important to read this. Katie, we're going to revisit your nomination form that got you voted team member of the year
All right,
nationwide.
I'll read it, and then there's a lot in here we can, if you guys want to stop and talk about it, let me know. There's a lot of good stuff here. Okay, so it was written about Kate. She's a dedicated wife, sister, aunt, daughter, hygienist, and now office manager. She leads the way with selfless acts and constant attention paid to the needs of others well over her own. In 2014, while in hygiene school, she lost her mother to lung cancer and subsequently became the foundation of healing for her family. She is the go-to, all-encompassing, all-purpose resource for her siblings and their children. Often we hear the melodious, is that right? Often we hear the melodious sounds of her many small nieces and nephews in our practice calling to her as she helps them feel loved and comforted in a traditional anxious environment. Her patients and teammates love her. She has the patience of a saint and will ensure clear communication between herself and others that occurs before moving on with another task. She's present, listens, and then practices empathy with all who cross her path. Kate embodies true teamwork. On any given day, she will be at the reception desk, giving anesthesia, presenting treatment plans, or fixing anything in the office. Her talents know no bounds. She has personally helped lead our practice through major growth phases, first helping us grow from 1 doctor to 2, while increasing production of the practice $700,000 in that year alone. Even though she was remarkable, she has continued her growth-minded leadership to help the practice add 2 new treatment rooms, another doctor, and was the major scheduling force in adding over $1 million of new production in the last 12 months. She is truly her best when she's serving others. She was instrumental in organizing our efforts to initiate ongoing efforts to help individuals overcome abject poverty, homelessness, and substance dependence obtain dental care at the Other Side Academy. She has joined on multiple Smiles for Life trips in the Dominican Republic, where she actually left her heart in 2018 after meeting several of our Esperanza support team members. Kate befriended Starling Simmons. They became close and remained in contact. On our 2019 humanitarian trip to Samana, Starling proposed marriage, and in 2020, Miss Kate Kellogg became Miss Kate Simmons. Thus, we see when you serve with real intent, you tend to receive more than you ever gave. She is truly magnificent and most worthy of the Crown Council's Team Member of the Year.
Nice. One correction on that, Stu. I don't think she left her heart there. She found it.
Nice. Very cool.
Right?
So good.
Very cool. Hey, Kate, I wanted to just ask before we really dig into some fun questions. Can you talk about Other Side Academy real quick and what that is?
Yes, the Other Side Academy is a home, an organization in Salt Lake here that helps people who are in danger of entering the prison system because of substance abuse or poverty issues that have led to something that direction. So this, the Other Side Academy is actually self-funded. They're not, they have no government assistance. And how it works, they actually have created businesses where those who come into the home have very strict guidelines for how they live and what they can do. And really are actually trying to turn their lives around. And these businesses that they have, they go and work in, so they're part of society. And then the money that they make from there goes to fund what they're doing in that home or to purchase more equipment to build the businesses that they have. So the Other Side Academy takes care of all their living needs, their physical needs, things like that are going on with the work that these people are putting into their own lives to make their own lives better. One thing that they don't get help with is their dental needs. So Dr. Tyre brought it up actually, and we kind of just ran with it. We met with the leader of that, Joseph Greeny. He founded the organization, and he's an amazing man. If you ever get a chance to talk to him, wonderful guy. And we were able to help raise funds and provide full mouth rehabilitations for a few individuals this last year. And we're working towards doing that for a few more this year. And we're hopeful that this will continue as long as we can have it continue.
Nice. Yeah, Joseph Graney was a speaker at the annual event a few years back. So
Yeah, good guy.
very good. All right. Well, we've got some questions for Kate. Should we start with Dominican? I know we just got back, but maybe tell us why you enjoy going and some of your favorite memories of being there.
Well, now that you've, exposed my whole backstory, going back because the people are amazing. But I also love going back as a reminder of the simpleness of life. It reminds me how much I can change in my own life, what I could be doing better, what I can live without. The things that I stress over that really aren't as big as I thought, right? And so I go down because I need it. I need to have that reminder regularly that I can do better, that I can be happy with where I'm at, so I'm not constantly overwhelmed by all the things that come at us in our very posh lives here in the US. And it is a wonderful experience with wonderful people. Yeah.
You've been there how many times, Kate?
This year was 3.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Maybe you could just, for those who haven't been, can you just quick characterization of what's a typical day like when we're serving patients there?
Mm-hmm.
Where do we stay? How do you eat? Where do you go? The whole deal.
Yeah. So, you said eat, and that's obviously first priority for me always. So my favorite is actually eating in the communities. I'll go back and walk you through how this works. But in the communities, they provide food for you that they know is well taken care of and prepared in a way that is safe. But it is your typical Dominican food, and it is delicious. It has so much flavor, and it is just so, there's nothing. It's amazing. It's amazing food. But your typical day, you start in the morning, and you usually get up. I think we were up at breakfast by 7 a.m. The hotel that you stay at usually takes care of food with it. It's usually a resort, so they're nice hotels. They take care of you pretty well. And you eat breakfast, you see your whole team there in the same blue scrubs, and you kind of get started on your day. You get on the bus, you drive out to the location. Sometimes that's only 30 minutes. Sometimes it's an hour or an hour and a half. And the locations are different every year, based on the need that they have to serve associates who haven't had access to care. So in the areas you go into, when you do get off the bus, there's usually the leader, which in the years I go, it's usually my boss, Dr. Tyre. He will usually direct doctors what tables they're setting up at, and hygienists. And the first day is kind of a little crazy because you don't know which bags have which equipment in them. And so you're kind of searching through everything, but you finally get it set up. I should have specify. Sometimes you're inside buildings, and sometimes you're outside. The first couple of years I went, we were outside of the buildings most times. As hygienists, we were, and they set up tents outside as well, if that's the case, so that you're shaded. And you have very simple equipment, but it's enough for what you need to do. And you set up, then you have a little huddle. You get to hear from one of the associates in the community about how their life has changed based on the help that Esperanza is giving them, or helping aid them with, they're not necessarily just giving it. They're aiding in it. And it starts your day out on this, in this positive note. During the day, you see patients pretty regularly back to back. You come in, patients, I clean their teeth, or I get them numb for the doctor. Then at some point we break for lunch. You're usually split for about 30 minutes, 45 minutes to eat lunch, and then you come back and you end the afternoon, usually, well, it depends based on how much time you've got. You're somewhere around 4 or 5. Clean it all up, get back on the bus, go back to the hotel. I generally either jump in the ocean or shower before going to dinner. And then the hotel provides food as well. It's usually like a buffet style. You can kind of pick what you're eating. You will not starve. If you're worried about food, you will not starve. And then you sleep and you wake up the next day and do it again. You
And different location, right? So it's a different location every day. It's not the same place, different community.
Mhm.
And Esperanza vets all the patients before we get there. It's very well organized.
It's very well. And I've never felt unsafe in that type of environment. But the food, I'm just going to go back to that real quick. That food,
Don't oversell it, Kate. Don't oversell it.
that myself, that it's delicious food.
Yeah. For those who may not know, our partner organization in the Dominican Republic that Kate's referenced is Esperanza. They are a micro lending organization. So they issue micro loans, small loans, primarily to women. I think 98% of their client base is women, who then that money allows them to start their own business. So, and when we're talking about business, like it might allow them to buy a goat, and then they can sell the the goat cheese, or buy a chicken and sell the eggs, or there's a number of different concepts that they do, and they do those in different communities. Like the Crown Council, all of their participants are organized in mastermind groups that meet on a regular basis. So they all get together, meet, and talk about how to build their business, how to market their business, how to make it more profitable. It mirrors very, very closely a lot of the things that we do in the Crown Council. And so they do that in these communities. And then those are the communities where we're going to do the dental work as well. So they're a great organization to work with. They make it so easy for us to do it. And, last thing I'll say, Kate, which you're very, very well aware of, is that when we embarked on this, golly, Stu, 10 years ago?
No, it was like 2008.
Wow, has it been that long? So that's been 15.
Mm-hmm. We just, the trip we just finished was number 63.
Wow. So that's 14, 15 years ago. The objective was to change the culture, not just to go down and render dental work, but to have a positive impact on the culture. So when we first went down there, they were helping us. And now pretty much the entire program is run by the local dental team led by Dr. Patricia and her whole team. They're doing these without us. So we're now helping them with their efforts. So mission accomplished, and it's fun to see that unfold. So it's very cool. What would you tell anybody that was even, anybody that hasn't done this, Kate? What would you tell them?
Go. Go, really. It's terrifying. The first time I went, I've never I never in my life had left the country. I think I had stayed between Utah, Nevada, and California like my whole life. And it was scary for me as a single person. I think going down, that was a little scary. I have no regrets. I would do it again in a heartbeat. It is wonderful, and it's go down and open your mind and your soul to everything that it can provide for you. There are so many miracles that you see with the people that you talk to, but so many things that bless your life just by you being able to open up your mind to ideas that you didn't think would be possible, or that you didn't even occur to you. It is life-changing every single time.
Love it. All right, can we shift? Stu, do we have
Let's
a
shift.
minute to shift
Yeah,
gears
we
real
got,
quick?
you bet. Let's do it. Let's talk about our
All right,
practice.
Kate,
All
team
right.
member of the year. Okay. So you get to somebody brand new in dentistry and they're coming into dentistry. Give us the short course on being the best team member in dentistry. What do you do?
You are willing. You have to adjust your mind to say, I'm going to figure out how. You stop telling yourself that you can't, that things aren't possible, that it hasn't been done. You start saying, how do we make it work? We can do this. How do we get there? You do it. That's how it works.
Love it. That's what we call being a willing wit, being willing to do whatever it takes. So I suspect, Kate, that you have never uttered the words, "It's not my job." Is that a fair statement?
Not to anyone else.
And I suspect you have never uttered the words, "I can't."
I'm not, I think you might be right.
There you go.
Hey,
Great
Kate.
contributor, and you work with a great team and some great leaders and a great example. So, Stu, any other questions?
Yeah, I'd love to know, just from Kate's perspective. I watched your team, or I have a close proximity to your team. What is it that you believe makes your team so successful? Not only from a patient treatment perspective, but also the way you guys get along, the way the practice runs. I mean, what is it that you see in the practice that makes it work?
I think it's a few things. I know we're limited on time, so I'm gonna go quick here. One, use TOPS. There is so much information, so much wisdom and things that are coming through there. In having a coach, we worked with Chris, and I love her dearly. Chris Taconis, amazing, good lady, but just has a way of opening your eyes to things, and it's awesome. Second, I feel like your leader has to be in that same attitude, the willing wit. You've got to have a leader that everyone is okay following, right? But in conjunction with that, you have to create an environment where your team feels safe and to work as a team. You start delegating whose job is what and splitting it up, this not my job thing. When you actually like the people you work with and you are there to help each other and work as a team, that's what creates success. Those relationships that you build, not just with your employees, but with your patients. That whole thing is huge. The relationships you create with other people is what it's all about. So it makes, but yeah.
Spence, any follow-up? Any questions for Kate?
I am just learning as we go here and enjoying every minute of it. Thanks so much for sharing.
Hey, last thing, Kate, for all of the doctors that are listening, could you give us the short list of what you appreciate most about your doctor leaders in your practice?
They are respectful of each individual, who they are, what their capabilities are. They're very respectful towards the team, but also towards patients, which is huge. You don't get that everywhere, right? But they care about us as a team. And I feel like that's different than respect. You can respect someone without really caring about what's going on, right? But they care about each of us as individuals. My doctors say thank you more than anyone I've ever heard in my life.
That's awesome.
They say thank you all the time. And it's not just behind the scenes. You're sitting with a patient, and as they walk out of the room, they say, "Thank you, Kate. I appreciate your help with cleaning this today." Or, "Thanks, Kate. You did a great job." That sort of just verbal communication openly is huge.
Love it.
Huge.
Mm.
Simple things, but
Right.
not always commonly found. So
Mhm.
love it. Thanks for the
Kate.
quick tutorial.
Yeah.
Hey, if you've got a time machine, Kate, what are you going to say to young Kate as she starts her dental career? What advice are you giving her?
Do it. So when I started, I wouldn't say I loved dentistry. I had a cousin who was a hygienist, and I was at a point in my life when I was kind of aimless, and she mentioned that hygiene could be good, and I was nervous, so I kind of fumbled into it. And it took me a little while to realize how much I loved it. So going back, do it.
Hmm.
Make the leap.
Nice.
It changes your life.
Yeah, that's really
Right.
good.
Anything else, Steve, Spence?
Thank you, Kate, so much. Thanks for your example and for being a great model of contributing to a culture of success.
Mhm.
Rock on.
Thanks.
Thanks, Kate. Grateful you joined us.
Yeah.
Okay, see ya. You guys, I watched her take some of the willingly, happily take the hardest patients. She's not lying when she says she's willing. She would be like, I want that one. I want that one that's the hard one. Like she would willingly take it from the other hygienist. It was really incredible to watch. She
Very
walks,
cool.
yeah, she walks what she talks for sure.
Great.
example.
Cool.
All right, done.
Good to be with everybody today.
Has been.
Keep doing the great work. Keep building a culture of success. Thanks, Stu. Thanks, Spencer.
You bet. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.
See you soon.